Marvel has announced a new single-player Black Panther game is in the works, and it might be an RPG. Let's get into it. This July marks the 57th anniversary of Black Panther's comic book debut. A weird number for Marvel to commemorate, but we aren't complaining because yes, a brand new AAA single-player Black Panther game has been announced. And judging from the limited info we have so far, there's early signs that we should be getting very excited. The game will apparently be third person, not exactly groundbreaking, but hopefully building on the stellar foundations laid by Insomniac in the Spider-Man games, and it'll be an entirely original story for players to get their teeth and claws into. That's pretty much everything concrete gameplay-wise revealed in Marvel's announcement, but there are some choice phrases used that make us think we might be getting more of a Black Panther RPG than your typical superhero game, where we usually play as the classic characters that usually don the mask, like Peter Parker or Miles Morales in Spider-Man for example. If we assume MCU, as is usually the way, that would probably be either T'Challa or Shuri, given that the game will likely let you play as either the male or female version of the Black Panther. According to the announcement from EA and Marvel, their mission is to build an expansive and reactive world that empowers players to experience what it's like to take on the mantle of Wakanda's protector, the Black Panther. If that doesn't sound like an RPG sandbox that'll allow players to play Black Panther their way, then I don't really know what does. There's also early signs that Cliffhanger are taking the development of Black Panther pretty seriously, recruiting dev talent that have worked on a ton of fantastic games, but most notably for our theory anyway, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor and God of War. Safe to say anyone who worked on those games knows how to put together a third-person action-adventure game with RPG elements. And given the amount of lore around Wakanda and its many fantastic technological advancements, the dev team has a lot to work with when it comes to making Black Panther's gameplay, from player abilities to enemies, as fun and satisfying as we've come to expect from our superhero games. Marvel's Avengers perhaps notwithstanding. And if you're still not convinced that you need to get excited for a Black Panther possibly RPG influenced game lead Kevin Stevens said that the team are dedicated to delivering fans a definitive and authentic Black Panther experience, giving them more agency and control over their narrative than they have ever experienced in a story-driven video game. That's a pretty big promise. So are we talking branching narratives? The ability to take the story in different directions depending on certain actions? Do we have the option to play as a more Killmonger-style Black Panther, exacting revenge on any who wrong us? Or will we have the option to take the more diplomatic, typically T'Challa route? Giving us agency and control over the narrative implies, to me at least, that there are going to be some story elements that will drastically change the state of the game world depending on our gameplay decisions. Something I do wish we could have seen the Spider-Man games explore a little bit more. And also, just in case there was any confusion, this Black Panther game is not the same as the Captain America game, which will also feature Black Panther. That's being developed by Skydance New Media, although it's quite easy to confuse them. It's also currently untitled and is an action-adventure game built on the same comic book narratives that'll likely inspire this latest game, but either way, superhero gaming fans are eating good right now, as long as they pull more from Insomniac Spider-Man rather than Marvel's Avengers, but more superhero games can only be a good thing, right? We've still got quite the wait before this single-player Black Panther experience will be ready to see the light of day. Cliffhanger are still recruiting the team, they want to build the game, but early signs have got us pretty hyped for everything Marvel Games has got coming up. So do you think Black Panther could be the new Spider-Man, or are we looking at another Avengers situation? And if you love superhero games just as much as we do, check out these videos here.